The Twins run their winning streak to 7 with a weekend sweep of the Angels. And we find out about a very new type of home run meets. All that and much more. This is Locked On Twins.
You are Locked On Twins, your daily Minnesota Twins podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hello again, and welcome back to Locked On Twins. I'm your host, Brandon Warren, and you can unfollow me on Twitter at Brandon_WARNE. While you're doing that, you can follow Mr. Dave Brown on the tweets at Answer Dave Brown. Dave, how are we doing this weekend, or this Sunday, ending a weekend?
It is. Well, you were correct the first time, so good on you, Brandon. As I told you before, I was running to get my salami, and I scurried downstairs so we could do the show. I'm very excited to eat sausage and talk about the Twins.
Yeah, no, for sure. I appreciate that, and it's an apt metaphor for what we found out was a new, not really a home run celebration or home run prop, but just kind of a quirk. But it's only
A
stupid.
secret weapon for sure.
Only stupid if it doesn't work. And as we saw in the Angels series, when the Twins scored 32 runs, it definitely worked. By the way, thanks for making Locked On Twins your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, and you can also find us on the YouTubes. And, of course, as part of the Locked On Podcast Network, we're your team every day. Today's episode brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's win, lose, or draw, $150 no matter what. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to get started. Also, you can catch every pitch of the Twins hometown broadcast with SiriusXM. Just download the SXM app and search the word Twins. Up next, Twins, White Sox, the suddenly surging White Sox, I might add. We'll talk about that here in a little while. Garrett Crochet gets the ball. He's on the bump, so the Twins will be his second straight opponent. Same true for Joe Ryan, with first pitch scheduled for 6:40 p.m. Central at Guaranteed Rate Field on Monday evening. It's a nationally televised game, but again, SiriusXM on the SXM app, and you can check them out as well. Pitching matchups for that one: Joe Ryan and Garrett Crochet, Simeon Woods Richardson and Michael Soroka, and Bailey Ober against Chris Flexen. So that one should be interesting. Dave, we may as well get to the gist or the cut to the chase of you eating salami
Meat
on camera. Yeah. So Kyle Farmer had told Audra Martin that basically he had done everything to get out of a slump, the showering with your clothes on, all that stuff. But then suddenly a wild summer sausage appeared, and it was super effective in Pokemon terms. But I want to know what your read is, because it's incredible the things that baseball will tell you mean something, even if it's just a superstition.
Well, baseball players is I'm not choking, but I'm
We got Kaufman Stadium back here as Dave is currently going through it a little bit. Hopefully we're not watching him.
That's what I get for
on screen.
That's what I get for bringing props to the show. Edible props.
Plops.
Baseball players, as I was saying, Brandon, baseball players are notoriously, infamously, ridiculously superstitious. I think they know most of them know that it's silly. Some of them think it's real. It's funny, even in Rocco's description, he's like, well, for those of you who haven't been following along, as if he's telling a story about a real thing that is actually mattering. But it does matter in a way because, of course, whether you have sausage or you don't, or you change your socks or whatever, it's all about the mental game in baseball. It's all about failure and overcoming it and bouncing back from it. And few players in the league have had more failure recently than Kyle Farmer. So,
right.
He will try anything. Just not, he's not even really saying that that's what's working. It's just it's a metaphor for reminding us that they're always working on getting better, and it's a fun thing. It is a little phallic. It's a
Yeah.
little, it's it's easy to like fall into double entendres and make kind of references to PG-13 topics or NC-17, but it's fun, and it's I don't know. Maybe it started out as a home run thing, even though we thought it was a salami at first, and that sort of was associated with a grand slam. But you can't, if you wait until somebody hits a grand slam, you're hardly ever going to get to use it. So one is that. So it's just
especially with Royce Lewis hurt.
Yes, just hopefully he'll be back soon enough, and with his own brand of sausage at the plate. But it's another, how the Twins have had a pretty good vibe this year. Just little things in the clubhouse about how they're getting along, and it's that. I mean, that kind of stuff does matter in the sense that it is a 6-month season, and everybody was ready to bail on them. And a week ago, people were even doing it today because Pablo kind of had an uneven start. He started out good, and he didn't really finish well. And
both pitchers did today. Both guys started out strong.
It was weird, yeah. Like first time through the order thing, and then that second time around, they both had trouble. So they kind of mirror each other there. But it's a ridiculously long season, and that can be a mental drag on any clubhouse. And it's good when you have little things like this to kind of bide your time and get you to the next game. So, and the Twins' overall talent is coming out. Some of these hitters were so bad before that they were just bound to turn it around a little, and they have. Carlos Santana, for one, and lots of other guys are contributing now. So they still don't have all their players, but I think we have a much better picture of what the full Twins roster and capabilities are after this sausage business for the past few days and the winning streak for the past week than we did before. They're still a competitive team, and they're in really good shape right now. I kind of went long-winded, but
that's good. I'm going to start calling them the boys of summer sausage. See if it
did you just think of that now?
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah,
I approve.
By the way, have you ever been to the Big A? I've never been to that stadium. Aesthetically, very pleasing. I also too, it hasn't. I mean, it has and it hasn't changed that much over the years because, I mean, I know they have the water and the rocks and whatnot, but there's an old homer that Gary Gaetti hits in the 1987 series that's like the dead center. And I feel like the aesthetics are like the general feel of the A is similar. Sure, it's changed a bit over the years in terms of maybe views and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But it to me, especially among ballparks that aren't new, feels like a really cool place to take in a game.
It is a little bit. It's kind of lived in. I think they've been trying without any success whatsoever to get a new stadium going. But it does have. I don't know about when you're there, but on TV there's a certain charm to it. There's a familiarity to it. Yeah. You remember Bo Jackson hitting the home run of the All-Star game, and the stadium has transformed over the years. I mean, the Rams used to play there, and they call it the Big A because the scoreboard used to be like a big A halo out in left field, and that's kind of all there was before they filled in the stand. So there literally was like this big A out there. Kind of, it doesn't sound creative. Maybe it had to be there, but
I call it Angela Stadium because it says Angel Stadium with the A in the middle.
Right. Yes.
I'm not very creative.
Well, and the Big A does not stand for Artie Moreno either. I think some of the millennials out there might be mistaken because they're newer. But it's a kind of a fun, funky little place, and they have that. It looks like the Disney roller coaster out in left field you mentioned with the rocks and the waterfalls and like the Matterhorn, I think it's called. It looks like you expect to see some kind of Disney production going on out there. So it's got some charm. But the Twins, they ignored all that and brought their own charming meat and beat the snot out of the Angels.
Yeah, outscoring them 32-13 along the way. I've got a whole bunch of numbers, and you know what? We'll do this. We will take a quick pause. When we come back, I want to break down statistically how far this offense and even this pitching staff has come over the last week, because a week ago when you and I were speaking, the Twins were 20 games into the season. They were 7-13, and things were looking pretty bleak. You and I were both still keeping the faith, but I think we might have been two of the only ones. So let's take a quick second. We got a word from DoorDash, and we also have a word from Monopoly Go, and then we will hit it again here shortly. Mother's Day is just 2 weeks away. If you're listening to this on the night that it drops, it's exactly 2 weeks away, but it's a couple Sundays out, and you can get something thoughtful for mom on DoorDash, believe it or not. You might not think of it, but you can surprise her from wherever you are with a fresh bouquet of flowers, the latest technology, gift cards, self-care treats, and more to make her day that much better. Just use the code LOCKEDONMLB, and you will get 50% off your next order up to $15, assuming you spend at least $15 on your next flower, convenience store, grocery, retail order, or anything of that sort on DoorDash. Pair flowers with a gift card so she can celebrate any way she wants. Is she a bookworm? You can get a bookstore gift card. Does she love a good latte? Get her a gift card to her favorite coffee shop. You really can't go wrong as long as you know your mom, and you better. Plus, you get convenience of shopping on your phone, so you don't have to be one of those scrambling, driving around to one of those stores looking for a card or finding something that maybe your mom may or may not like. We've all been there. Sorry, it was a long time ago, mothers, but we've all been there. Order now and get everything you need for Mother's Day on DoorDash. Use code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50, easy for me to say, off your next order up to $15 on your next flower, convenience store, grocery, or retail order. Again, on DoorDash. That's LOCKEDONMLB as your promo code. Order now, DoorDash today. Terms apply. And I have a competitive side. I like to scratch that competitive itch by being a big fan of Monopoly Go. I'm sure you've heard of it because it has been downloaded over 150 million times, and it's a great twist, easy again for me to say, on Monopoly, where you play on not one, but hundreds of Monopoly boards in crazy locations, building up amazing cities that bring you big money. But the best part is messing with your friends. You can charge them rent on your iconic properties, just like in classic Monopoly, like you used to play in Mom's kitchen back in the day. But now I can rob their vaults of riches for myself. It's a real Ocean's 11, Ocean's 12 kind of deal. And the leaderboards now show me who is the biggest Monopoly tycoon. So if I'm not up there, I know who I got to go after, which is also very helpful. But it's not just my competitive side that loves it. You can team up with friends and people all around the world in timed tournaments to earn huge rewards. So get in the game and join your friends. Download Monopoly Go free on the App Store or Google Play. All right, Dave, we are into segment 2, the bullpen, and I want to hit you with some data that I pulled that I think is pretty illuminating. Twins at the start of the streak, so a week ago, we're hitting 195 with a 281 on base and a 329 slugging percentage. Pretty hard to overstate how bad that is, correct?
Yeah, you're just not you're going to have to pitch like the 69 Mets to and nobody really does that to overcome weak offense such as that.
Or 68 Gibson for the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's nice that the Cardinals have a Gibson who's good now. Kyle Gibson. They've deserved a good Gibson for the history of their. I'm just kidding.
You think the fans are aware of this parallel?
I don't think they're making any sort of connection. Anyway. Twins hitting 238, 315, 405 now. So about a 45-ish point jump in batting average, about a 35-ish point jump in on base, and a slugging percentage jump of almost 80 points. During this stretch, so in 7 games, the Twins have hit a collective 348 with an on base of 406 and a slugging percentage of 602. That's an incredible run. That's hitting like an MVP caliber player season over the span of a week. Hard not to be impressed, regardless of if it's against the White Sox. And again, more on them because they had a pretty freaking good weekend. And the Angels, who By the way, Angels in this series had a 9.67 ERA, 2.15 WHIP. I always say WHIP is like a pitcher's blood pressure. It may not necessarily mean something's wrong, but there's something wrong under the hood that needs to be fixed.
Yeah.
And 18 strikeouts against 13 walks in 27 innings pitched. That's taken straight out of the 2013 Twins playbook.
They also played just horrendous defense.
I had a tweet about that. It was I have terrible defense all series on my format here, but it was Ron Washington like, it's easy to manage the Angels, isn't it, Wash? Or tell him, Wash, it's incredibly hard. I feel bad for Ron Washington for having to watch this because he doesn't deserve this. He is in.
He's got a lot of work. He's got a lot of work to do. He doesn't have time to watch nothing. He's got to get out there and help these guys field because even when it's not errors or things that are obvious like that, they're very tentative and letting balls drop, so to speak, and not playing the infield well. They say Angels are outfielders, but they're not any kind of fielders, honestly, right now.
Well, and we used to joke about it here. It was infielders in the outfield with the Twins because they had Jason Bartlett out there, and he played so badly he just decided to retire. And they would have just different infielders they were trying to shoehorn out there, and it never worked well.
Did you do that with Denny Hawking? Seems like
Denny Hawking's a saint. I cannot say anything bad about Denny Hawking.
Nothing wrong with Denny Hawking, but maybe making him play out of position a little bit. And you mentioned the improvements made by this isn't Angels, Locked On Angels. This is Locked On Twins, and the standings look a little better. It's they're only, let's see, the Twins are 14-13, which means they're one game in the loss column behind the Tigers and the Royals. One game, big deal, right. And only 4 behind the Guardians,
the LaGuardians.
So it's right there for them, and we're not even into May yet, although it's going to happen soon. So like you said, warning about the White Sox, they got their act together somehow against the Rays. I know the Rays have been kind of scuffling a little bit, but the White Sox sensed a wounded animal or something, and I was going to make a Kristi Noem reference, but it was but they're good instead of evil.
No, I barely heard. I made that joke on Twitter too, and it did not go well.
No, kind of like how it didn't go well here either, even though you're there.
Yeah.
So, but
Glenn Perkins did say something about their defensive effort. So it wasn't just bad defense; it was effort. Like Joe Adele did not impress Glenn Perkins defensively. Sorry to waylay your point there.
Yeah. No, it's. So there still is a little bit of It's not like they're doing this against the elite teams, but you can only play who you play when you play. So I'm not going to rip the Twins too much for that. But the Angels are definitely a distressed team. And I would say, effort is true in terms of it's not that they didn't want to play good defense. It's just that they were not ready to commit to any kind of, they go left, go right, go in, go back. They're very uncertain about their own abilities right now. They'll doubt their family lineage if you ask them right now, like, where do you come from? I don't know. Stop asking me these hard questions. So the Angels are bad. The White Sox were bad and presumably are bad, but we'll see what happens. These games are in Chicago, correct? It's on the road. So that could, I don't know if that has an effect. They hadn't really been drawing well either until the Rays series. I saw a lot of jokes about, hey, look at all the fans of the White Sox game. Well, I mean, there was fireworks night and they were giving away a hockey jersey. And so
Tommy Pham's in town. I mean,
absolutely. Well, Tommy Pham apparently has turned things around. He's got a program to get runs on the board and fantasy football in everybody's locker. So
he's playing center field though. I can't believe that's real.
Well, the White Sox are so weird. None of what they do makes any sense. So we'll see if the Twins better be ready for just a little bit of a different feel from their opponent, even though they just played them last week. So
does it make more or less sense than signing a quarterback for $100 million guaranteed and drafting one in the top 10 and arguably not the best one on the board? Like that to me, we're not locked on Falcons. We're not locked on NFL, but Kirk Cousins being involved in the whole situation, just
Cousins has a lot of money guaranteed in that contract, right? And
the $100 million is guaranteed. The rest is like if he plays whatever, he's getting 100 no matter what. That's like his the part that will always count against the cap no matter what.
Mm-hmm.
And then there'll be performance stuff as far as I think it can be up to like 140 or something. It's like 40 a year, so maybe 150, 160. I don't remember.
And it's like the rumblings are they're worried about an injury that everybody knew about.
Yeah, he tore his Achilles this season.
Yeah, right. That's not a secret. So, they did not Google.
Yeah,
they did not, like Derek called me. They did not Google Tyler Mahle's elbow, but so it happens in other sports as well. But who's coming up after the White Sox?
After the White Sox, the Twins have Boston and Seattle at home. So Boston has played, near as I can tell, they've played well, but they've got like 14 people on the IL.
Right.
The Mariners, they're lining up to face Luis Castillo, who I think has been knocked around a bit, and Brian Wu, which is your guy. So we'll see what happens there, because it looks like Simeon Woods Richardson will get a start there. Bailey Ober will get a start there. But, this isn't the Boston team that we remember either with, I looked at their lineup the other day and I was like, how does this team have $200 million in payroll obligations? And they're playing like Rob Refsnyder and Ceddanne Rafaela. Now, again, great rookie, might be a rookie of the year candidate if everything goes 100 percentile for him. But I just
did they still owe David Price money? Is that one reason why?
It might be they might still owe David Ortiz money, for all I know.
So the Red Sox have surprised me too, and they're these are, I think these teams that the Twins are facing coming up, we're not talking about great teams, but they are teams that they are better than. So I would not expect them to keep the winning streak going through the entire White Sox series and the upcoming home stand. But I think the club, the Twins, have kind of righted themselves the best they can to this point, still waiting for Carlos Correa to come back and someday Royce Lewis.
Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth. It sounds like Correa's return may even be imminent in Chicago because he's not expected to go on a rehab stint. So we'll take a quick second, a word from FanDuel, and then we'll wrap this baby up as we get set to dive into another week of Twins baseball. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. If you can see a shadow over my shoulder you're watching on YouTube, it's because I have the Timberwolves game on in the foreground or background. I don't know which, either way. It's playoff time in those, both the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, as you very well know if you're listening to this program. And FanDuel is the place to bet on every game. Because right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's winning, that's losing. It doesn't matter. It's $150. Win or lose it's more or less free play. It's a no-brainer. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. All right, Dave, we're coming down the home stretch here. Yeah, it sounds like Carlos Correa's return is near, if not altogether imminent, and it makes me wonder who the Twins will send out. I feel like the two primary candidates are Austin Martin and Jose Miranda. I think Miranda, despite how good he was in the Angel series, he was 5 for 9. I think he's probably public enemy #1 to be sent back, which is a shame because he's swinging it pretty good.
I mean, it is too bad, but he's. They both have options, but Miranda is sort of close to, Correa's position on the field. If you move Farmer around a little bit, Santana's coming out of it, hitting the ball really hard. Farmer still, he couldn't get any worse than before, and he's looks like he's starting to bounce back a little bit.
Right.
But they still kind of need him at this point. There really isn't anybody else in the organization who, you could put it short in a pinch that you'd be comfortable with. And there's other things that Farmer brings to the table. It's a long butt season,
like salami or summer sausage.
It is.
He brings summer sausage to the table. This is a commercial waiting to happen. You hear that, Cloverdale?
Is that that's different than Buxton's sponsor, right?
That's Sheboygan.
So I don't know if there's going to be a conflict here. We're going to have like dueling sausages. Did you know? Hey, I don't know if anybody other than me has made this connection, but like 3.5 weeks ago, Byron Buxton almost got trounced by the bratwurst sausage at the Brewers game. Do you think even like subconsciously that was the sort of beginning of this sort of sausage ritual that the Twins have started, that there's some kind of, I don't know if you guys have all seen like Richard Dreyfuss in Close Encounters of the Third Kind, where there's like a psychic connection to Devil's Tower, Wyoming, and that's where the aliens are headed. Is there some kind of sausage thing going on just beyond Kyle Farmer's sausage?
I don't even know where to go from that. Maybe it was the curse of Abe Froman, Sausage King of Chicago, and that's where they're going. There's ample room for conspiracy theory to go crazy here. So keep your eyes open, your ears closed, whatever. Just be prepared. I do want to go
your mouth open as well for the sausage.
Yes, exactly. The anatomy of a good offensive series. Twins hit 385 with a 449 on base and 607 slug in the Angel series. And how about this for a single game? I don't give two hoots about what a slash line looks like in a single game because it's a game, But the Twins hit 415 on Saturday with a 510 on base percentage and a 732 slugging percentage. So that's what scoring 16 runs look like. 51 Twins came to bat. 26 reached base safely. And on the entire streak, the 7-game streak that they're on, I just want to go over a couple things. Willie Castro, 13 hits. He's hitting 419 with 1,097 OPS. Ryan Jeffers, 11 hits, 440 average. Carlos Santana, 8 hits, hitting 286 with a 1,033 on OPS. Edouard Julien's got a 1,455 OPS, which is incredible. Max Kepler has 8 hits since returning. He's hitting 421. Miranda's 7 for 19, 368. Trevor Larnach's hitting 467. Byron Buxton's hitting 353. Even Christian Vasquez, 8 for 16. I mean, it's really hard to imagine an offense hitting much better than this. And collectively, over the last week, we already said this, I think, 348, 406, 602. So
what do you think? You mentioned Jeffers in there. Where does he fit in? Adley Rutschman's probably the best catcher in the American League.
Yeah,
and maybe Salvador Perez is having, he's having a really good kind of a resurgent season.
Ever
does Jeffers though? Does he fit into the? I mean, we have a while to go on this, but see him fitting into the All-Star game if they take 3 catchers.
Well, right now, top 3 catchers by Fangraphs WAR in the American League. Well, so it's Salvador Perez, and then it's 3 NL guys. It's Big Willie style Will Smith, Big Willie style William Contreras, Big Willie style Wilson Contreras. Boy, that's a fun one. Contreras brothers, who have virtually identical numbers outside of batting average. Mm-hmm. Then it's Ryan Jeffers. There is a catcher that is ahead of Adley Rutschman. It's by 0.1 of a WAR or a win. Do you know who it is?
Who's that?
It's the big dumper himself, Cal Raleigh. But it's 0.9 to 0.8. Jeffers is 1.1. At this point, that's all noise. But yeah, I think he has to be in the conversation, especially if he DHs as often as he has. Not because that affects him as a catcher, but it's going to give him more opportunities to hit and not wear out his knees.
Yeah, so it should keep him fresh. If you look at coming in, I think it's coming into today. I'm not sure how updated the Fangraphs thing is, but his WRC plus at Fangraphs leads all catchers. He's at 200, which is not sustainable. I mean, no, he won't finish the season there, but it's that's better than actually like Ben Rortvedt is and David Fry are behind him at 195 and 185, and then Connor Wong. So maybe it's skewed a little bit. Salvador Perez 163. That's a little more realistic, but Jeffers is doing great. I'm not sure about his defensive abilities this season, but I haven't looked closely.
Okay. And then pitching wise, too, on this streak, Twins obviously 7-0, 3.29 ERA, .10 WHIP, 73 strikeouts in 63 innings, so it's 10.43 strikeouts per 9, 2.57 walks per 9. That comes out to 4.06 strikeouts per walk, an incredible rate. 0.86 homers per 9, also great. Really hard to argue with anything. Really only Pablo Lopez had a tough week, 7.00 ERA. Everybody else is 3. Nope. Joe Ryan had 4.50 again in one start. But anyway, team ERA 3.29 is incredible.
Were you satisfied with what Pablo did in terms of, are you not worried about him?
Yeah, he has been a guy who either starts slow or ends slow, and I would rather have him start slow and end fast like he did last year, because I believe there was a stretch where he struggled to start the year, and everybody's like, oh, Luis Ariz is hitting 400. What's going to happen? And everybody's like, if you know ball, you understand that Pablo as a pitcher is still worth a whole lot more than Luis Ariz.
I remember those tweets.
Yeah, not good. Quickly around the affiliates, St. Paul postponed against Rochester. Wichita loses 3-1 to San Antonio. Fort Myers shut out by Palm Beach 4-0, and Cedar Rapids canceled due to rain. Around the division, Detroit beats KC 4-1. Twins 1.5 behind the Tigers, 2 behind KC. White Sox sweep Tampa, double their win total, and the Guardians are walked off by the Braves, but still 19-9. Hey, that's all we have time for, Dave. Let's take a 23.5-hour break, a 23.5-hour reprieve, and we'll catch everyone on the flip side. He's Dave Brown. I'm Brandon Warren. Thanks for hanging out with us, and we'll see you tomorrow.